Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Group. I am your host today, and we are going to be looking at the top 5 matches of Christian Cage's career so far. Now, Christian for me is a prime example of why you should never just solely watch one wrestling promotion. Christian, of course, was successful tag team wrestler and mid-carder in WWE before switching to TNA, where he became a main eventer pretty much straight away. He then later returned to WWE as a main event star for only a short while before once again they dropped him back to the mid-card before he had to then retire. After returning to the ring, Christian turned down WWE and joined AEW and has since been having the best run of his career, both in the ring and storyline wise. So in this video, we will be looking at all 3 promotions and picking his best matches of his career. We will only be looking, though, at Christian as a singles wrestler, which actually leaves it open for us to then look at Edge and Christian as a tag team top 5 in the future. I will start at 5 as always and then make my way down to number 1, and that being the best ever Christian Cage match. As always, feel free to play along too and leave your top 5 matches in the comment section below. And don't forget, as always, hit that subscribe button while you do. So we'll start with number 5. And we have to look at TNA for this one with Christian Cage versus Samoa Joe with Matt Morgan as the special enforcer for Bound for Glory 2007. Some out-of-control brawls in the build-up to this match led to Matt Morgan being involved as the special enforcer, and unlike most special enforcers, he actually did play a part. Both guys are main eventers at this time and are pushing for a World Heavyweight title shot, so a victory here for either guy is going to push them closer to that opportunity. Samoa Joe was on his top babyface run, while Christian was a top heel in the company, and he'd aligned himself with AJ Styles and Tyson Tomko. Samoa Joe took control early in this match and didn't really let up from there, overpowering his opponent with some strong chops and elbows, leading to Christian to have to revert to his dirty tactics to try and get the job done. With Christian's back against the wall and with him being a heel is some of Christian's best work in his career. There is some people that can switch between the two, and I do think Christian can play a really good babyface, but let's be honest here, Christian as a heel is next level. At one point in the match, Styles and Tomko tried to get involved, giving Christian the upper hand. This led to Matt Morgan throwing Styles into Tomko. But it was enough, though, to cause a distraction, and Christian hit a low blow on Samoa Joe and followed it up with an unprettier, but only managed a 2 count. This was an action-packed match from start to finish, with Samoa Joe ending up coming out on top after a muscle buster and Coquina clutch. In at number 4. Christian versus Shelton Benjamin in a ladder match for the ECW Championship at TLC 2009. Now, the WWE version of ECW gets a lot of hate, and to be honest, most of it is warranted. But on the odd occasion, they were able to pull out some really good matches. Now, this is definitely one of those matches. The match starts with some back and forth before Shelton picks up the pace, and we never look back from there. Christian tries for the kill switch early doors to end it, but Shelton manages to reverse. It's not long though until the ladders then come into play as weapons. Also, both guys try to scale up to get the belt. Now, I like it when they do this early in a match, as a lot of ladder matches, you'll only see them actually climb the ladder trying to go for the title in the last 5 minutes, and that always annoys me because it's literally the aim of the match is to climb the ladder and retrieve the title. So especially when you're a heel like Christian, you want to try and knock him down and go for the title as quick as possible. Shelton dives off the ladder onto Christian on the outside of the ring in a very memorable spot. Unfortunately, there is a short stoppage in the match due to Christian getting a cut, and they quickly managed to stitch it up. Now, this was just after WWE went fully in on the PG era, so it does have to stop a little bit, but it doesn't take anything for me out of the actual match. In the highlights of the match, Christian hits a frog splash onto Shelton, who is laid out on a ladder outside the ring. They both go crashing through the steel ladder before Christian is then able to climb the ladder in the ring and retain his ECW championship. In at number 3, Christian versus Randy Orton no holds barred match for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2011. When you think of Christian's best matches in WWE, you can't not think of his feud with Randy Orton in 2011. In fact, the Over the Limit match only just missed out on this too. Christian was the world champion going in, and he was a heel. If you remember, the storyline originally started with Christian as the face, Orton as the heel. At this point, they'd switched it around, and Christian was a heel as the world champ going in, and Randy Orton was the babyface challenger. We're going to go back and forth to start before Christian starts searching for weapons. He uses a kendo stick to try and take the upper hand in the match. And at one point, Christian grabs the title and runs off into the crowd, but Orton follows him and they brawl through the crowd before making their way back to the ring. So Randy Orton won't let Christian disappear with the title. Christian then goes back to his kendo stick and repeatedly nails Orton with it until Orton manages to counter with a dropkick and then a power slam. Orton hits a DDT onto the trash can and another power slam, this time through a table in the corner of the ring. Randy Orton's then setting up for an RKO with Christian hits him with a kendo stick. Christian then leaps off the second rope and Orton counters into an RKO onto the steel steps for the victory in a photo finish and once again becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. So in at number 2, Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega for the Impact World Championship in the very first episode of AEW Rampage. So to kick off Rampage with a bang, AEW decided to hold Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage for the very first time and have it for one of Kenny's 4 championships that he was holding at the time. Well, technically 2, because the TNA and the Impact were basically the same belt. Christian at this time was a babyface, having not long arrived in the company, and he was quickly managed to rack up an undefeated streak and earn himself a shot at one of Omega's titles. Like I say, Omega was on a really good run this time as the belt collector. He was the top heel in the company. The crowd was red hot for this one, and both guys soaked it in for the first minute of the match before going to work. Don Callis was in Omega's corner for this match and will play a part as he caused a few distractions which would allow Omega to gain the upper hand. Now to end this one, Christian escaped a one-winged angel and nailed Omega with the sunset flip. He managed to duck a V-trigger which led to Omega's knee colliding with the turnbuckle in the corner. Christian then connected with a spear for a 2 count, and Omega hit a couple of snapdragons and connected with a low blow while Don Callis had the referee distracted. The Young Bucks then slid a chair into the ring and Omega set it up and attempted a one-winged angel. Christian, though, countered and nailed Omega with a kill switch onto the set-up chair for the victory and to become Impact World Heavyweight Champion. So what could be our first what could be Christian Cage's greatest match of his career. Well, funny enough, considering he's been around for decades, Christian Cage versus Darby Allin in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the TNT Championship at WrestleDream in 2023. Now, I did say to you, his current run in AEW for me is his best run of his career, so it shouldn't be a shock that an AEW match has actually topped the list. This match main evented the pay-per-view with a card that also featured Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson. Now, Christian was the heel champion going into this match, and Darby the absolute fan favourite babyface. And as usual, when it's a 2 out of 3 falls match, we go and get our first fall pretty early on. So Darby goes for the coffin drop, but Christian is able to get out of the way. But Darby then manages to pull up Christian's turtleneck over his face and get a quick pinfall victory to lead Darby 1, Christian 0. Christian then comes out guns blazing after that and hammered down on Darby, taking it to the outside and throwing Darby into the barricade twice. Darby was able, though, to capitalise after Mother Wayne threw a drink in Christian's face from ringside. She had not yet joined Christian at this point. This was when Nick Wayne was still a face. Darby then hit a suicide dive and hit a coffin drop on the outside before attempting another back in the ring, but Christian manages to get his knees up, with the crowd getting well into this match at this point. Christian would launch Darby onto the announce table and then drop him on the steel steps outside the ring twice. As the doctor checked on Darby, he would be counted out. The match now tied. Darby won. Christian won. Christian went to go on the attack straight away, but Bryce Remsburg held him back as a stretcher was called for Darby Allin. Christian then went around, cutting the ring apron off and pulled back the ring canvas. Christian then went up and hit a frog splash on Darby, who was on the stretcher at this point, with fans left astonished. Christian then took Darby back into the ring and nailed him with a kill switch onto exposed boards below, but only managed a 2 count. The crowd 100% gets behind Darby Allin, and we get the old Darby, Darby, Darby chants. Christian then applies the Scorpion Deathlock, obviously from Darby's mentor Sting. But Darby manages to get to the ropes and he nails Christian with a Scorpion Death Drop on the exposed boards, and then lands a coffin drop also, but just manages a 2 count. After the ref was knocked down, Christian brought his TNT title into the ring and taunted Nick Wayne's mum with it. Nick Wayne went ringside and grabbed the title from Christian's hand. Christian was back in the ring with Nick and Darby, which led to Nick hitting Darby in the head with the TNT title. And Christian then told Nick he'd done a good job. Nick Wayne just turned heel. Christian pulled referee Bryce Remsburg into position, and Christian covered Darby Allin for the pinfall win, ending the match at 2-1, with Christian retaining his TNT Championship and obviously gaining Nick Wayne as an ally in his faction. After the match, Christian and Wayne decide to put the beat down on Darby. We then get Sting coming down for the save, but Luchasaurus also comes down and makes it 3-on-2. This is where Adam Copeland makes his AEW debut to even the score at 3-3, and even manages to nail Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus with a couple of spears. A great moment to end a great match for our top 5 Christian Cage's greatest matches. And there you have it. That is our top 5. If you agree, let us know. If you disagree, drop your top 5 in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to give us a like, comment, and subscribe to the wrestling group today.